going on, guys? This is Dave from Otaku, and today I wanted to make a short video about why I stopped using Morphman. Cool, so as a lot of you guys probably already know, I have been a die-hard fan of Morphman for a really long time. Basically, ever since I got past basic vocabulary, which I used Tango to study, I've basically used Morphman from day one on to actually mine all the shows and everything that I wanted to watch. I thought Morphman was a great tool, and it really can be if you implement it in the right way. However, I have all but stopped using it because of some new tools that have come to light. So now, if you can remember back to my last video about how to set up Morphman, I talked about what was good about Morphman and what was bad about it, and I made a comment saying that until the day comes that somebody builds a tool where you can just use Netflix and just instantly click one card at a time and create them, I will probably stick with Morphman over traditional sentence mining. But ironically, not long after that, that day came. The tool I've been using is called the Migaku Browser Extension. It is honestly awesome. It has met pretty much all of my demands that I used to have, or that I said before, that I want something that's really simple that I can just use along with Netflix. That's one click at a time, something that was very similar to Voracious, but you could be used in your browser, and the Migaku Browser Extension absolutely does that. So today, in this video, I wanted to take the time to actually show you guys the Migaku Browser Extension and how I use it to mine words. I'll show you a bit of my mining process and what I do inside of Anki to actually make everything work really well. And then afterwards, at the second half of the video, I will show you how to set it up just like really quick, bare bones, make it as simple as possible. Cool, welcome back to my computer, guys. So real quick, I want to give you a demonstration of the Migaku Player in action, or the Migaku Browser Extension in action. First of all, it's kind of a twofold product, right? So one, you need to have the Migaku dictionary installed, and the way you can do that is by just downloading the Migaku dictionary that you can get off of Anki Web. And I'll go into the installation progress, or the installation process, after this. But first, let's just go ahead and right over to Netflix so you guys can see what I am talking about. So right here, I am on Japanese Netflix. As you can see, I'm using a VPN right now, so I have a lot more offerings than you would see on like the American Netflix. And the VPN that I typically use is Windscribe. I really love it. It's a great product too. If you got $2 to spare a month, I have had zero issues with Windscribe. It's been awesome for me. So let's go ahead and jump right into any random show. Jujutsu Kaisen, not a bad option. So first of all, it's going to open up in Netflix, right? And you'll notice that I have this little pop-up going on over here. So second of all, I also have the Migaku little puck here that can come up. You got a couple of options here. You have your settings. You have the allow recording button, which is pretty important. You actually need to hit that button to make sure that your cards and audio will properly record, like the pictures and the audio on your cards will actually record. You have the Migaku Player, which I'll go over in just a second. And then you have the disable Migaku toolbar. So if you go ahead and hit this, you'll notice that my toolbar is still here. If I reload the page, it will go away entirely though. And so if you log into something that you're trying to do some mining with, you got to make sure that the Migaku toolbar is enabled. So let's go ahead and re-enable that and then reload our page again. And you'll notice that it's going to pop up over here in the corner again. A couple of cool things about the Migaku toolbar. One, it's expandable, which is really cool. Two, it's movable, and it will move to wherever you move it to, and it'll stay there. So also the next time you start it up, it'll stay there. It won't go off screen, right? So even if you drag it all the way up there, it won't work. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. So to talk about the fields real quick, the first field is the language that your main language that you're going to be using, and this is the language that will export to your cards while you're making cards. The second field over here is a second language field, so if you wanted to put English there, or if your native language was German or French or whatever, you could put that there too, if there was the subtitle option for it, or if you had the subtitles for that show in that language. Currently, you cannot export the second language. You can only export the first language. However, that's a feature that is probably coming pretty soon, I've heard from Migaku, where you can export both languages. Then you have the mode. Default mode means that the subtitles are just going to remain at the bottom. Reading mode is you'll see the subtitle first, and then you'll have to read it, and then you can listen to the audio afterwards. Recall mode is you will hear the audio first, and then the subtitle will pop up to see if you got it correct. And then hidden mode is subtitles will not show at all until you hit pause. And then once you pause it, the subtitle will pop up so that you can be like, what was that word? So if you don't want subtitles on there, but you still want to be able to mine cards, you can do it that way too. There's also the skip mode. Basically, you can speed up the video in between subtitles. So if you wanted to pretty much only get your immersion content at like subtitle to subtitle, you can skip the in-between sections by putting it 2x speed, 4x, 6x, or 8x speed. You have a download subtitles option where you can just download the subtitles for the show. You can export all 1T cards. I haven't used this feature yet, and it doesn't seem like it would be super useful to me because a lot of the 1T cards that would come up for me would be like people's names and stuff. So you might run into that. So it definitely can be useful, but hasn't been yet for me. There's the export all, which is basically like making a substress RS deck just for the episode, but you need to have the episode running the entire time, and it takes almost the length of the episode. It basically takes the entire length of all of the subtitles put together, right? You have the subtitle browser, which is really cool. It actually pulls up all the subs, and if you right click on one, it will bring you to that timestamp, which is pretty cool, right? So that you can actually move around the show like that if you wanted to jump around to the different things. So the second level only works for Japanese right now, and will only show up if the language you have selected is Japanese, right? If I go to disable, you'll see it went away. But this is basically your way of parsing all the words and content that you have in here. So your known words are the words that you import from Anki. So basically, the Migaku Browser Extension, almost kind of like Morphman, knows exactly what words I know and is able to highlight all of the words that I don't know, which is absolutely awesome. It makes making cards really, really easy, and it makes it really, really functional. You have the highlight function, which will just highlight everything that you got going on, right? You have the furigana function, or the kanji function, or the only kana function. There's talk about adding a function where it will add furigana only to words that you don't know, and then not add furigana to the words you do know, which is kind of cool. I think that would be an awesome feature as well. And then there's pitch shape, and then there's just the parse button. And if I hit the parse button, you'll notice that it actually do everything it says it will do, right? So it's highlighted my unknown words and my known words, and it's also added furigana to all the kanji. I will say that usually I rock it like this with the furigana on. I just find it just a tiny bit easier for unknown words. I tend to not look at subtitles while I'm watching a show, and then when I hear something that I didn't fully understand, then I'll look down real quick at the subtitles. So it works really well for me, but if you wanted to just have it kanji, you could. I will say don't hit parse multiple times, only hit it once, and let it take its effect. If you messed up and you need to reparse it, just reload the episode. But you'll notice over here in the subtitle browser that there's a couple of really cool things going on, right? You see that this word is underlined in red, Itadori, which is one of the characters' names. Basically, it underlined it twice because it didn't realize that it can't tell the difference between the kanji and the kana being within the parentheses. But if I jump like over to here, it's underlining the one word that I don't know in this sentence, and it's also highlighted it yellow because it's saying that this is an I+1 sentence or a 1T sentence. So that's really, really cool. So from here, if I wanted to make a card from here, I could literally, go over here, look at the word. If I click on the word, if it's a common word, usually there's audio with it, like that. So this might not be a common word. I might be able to tell right away. You'll also notice that there's different statuses, so it's saying that it's unknown, whereas these two over here, these yellow ones, are saying that they're seen, which means they're still new for me. So if I go over here and I click the question mark, it will pull up the dictionary extension, and then I can go ahead and look. And I can go already see that this is an uncommon word. It has 0 stars right here, whereas if I looked a more common word up, it would have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 stars. And I'm pretty much mining only 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star words right now, which are basically the most common 15,000 Japanese words. I also will have in the description a frequency list for the Netflix frequency list that I made previously that works with all of this. So I find it to be really, really useful because then if you're mining with Netflix and you're using the Netflix frequency list, you're going to get the most common words based on what you're actually mining generally, which is really, really helpful in my opinion. And I think it was a little bit better than the one that came right out of the box. So I'll show you guys how to install that too if you would like. Cool. But if I look at some of the other words here, if I go like to yoiki and I pull that up, you can see that this is a 3-star word, right? And so if I didn't know this word, this is a word that I would probably mine. So I can go ahead and close the subtitle browser, and basically I would be able to watch the show just like this, right? and just go right through. And then I would also probably compress this down so that it didn't ruin the show for me too much. If you need to go through the subtitles, you can go left and right. You can just hit the arrow keys. Another thing that I have personally done that I really love is I have a mouse that has like 2 extra buttons on it. And basically I assign these 2 extra buttons to left and right. So I can do all of my mining just with my mouse. And I find it really, really easy because I can just like sit on my couch downstairs and mine my words that way while just chilling, which is really, really easy. So if I go around and I looked for a card that maybe I wanted to mine, or though generally I would actually just watch the show, then I could easily create a card. So let's open up that subtitle browser again and find a 1T sentence that looks like it might be useful, or one that would be good for just like example's sake. So go ahead, right click there. And so if I actually wanted to mine a card, basically all I would need to do is say I've already listened to it. I'm like, yep, everything I wanted to know here was good. I could hit this little Anki button. And right here it says that Anki has not, or rather the Migaku has not been enabled for recording. So I'll just go over here to Migaku and then hit allow recording. And then I press that button again. Cool. And just like that, it has, oh, there it goes. Just like that, it has recorded the audio for me. It has placed the subtitle file in the sentence field. It has taken the word, and it's got an image and everything. It's really great. And here you can see test the audio. Good deal. And then from right here, I could go ahead and add a word that I wanted to. So, or rather a definition that I wanted to. All you need to do is be able to hit this little Anki button and it'll shoot right over to the definitions. And then I can go hit add. And then now it's in my Anki. That easy, guys. So that's a pretty cool way to do this. You also have the option to using it with YouTube. So I just pulled up a YouTube video right here and same thing. So the video you're watching needs to have subtitles. And a lot of these times they're going to be these Japanese auto-generated subtitles, which obviously aren't the best. They're auto-generated. They're just YouTube's own system creating the subtitles from what it thinks it is. But if you find a video that you want to mine that has subtitles in it, then you can, absolutely. And then the same functionality will work, right? Just like that. And then I can go ahead and say, okay, cool, there's a word I didn't know. I can go ahead and mine that word, look it up, press this button. It would be able to make a card right there. Super easy. So there's also the Migaku Player, which is a really cool function. If I go over here, hit Migaku Player, it'll open it up. And then I can basically drop my own shows in there that I would want to watch. So if, say, I want to watch Magi, I can go in here, drop the file off, and then I can go to the subtitle settings and import the file all on its own. You need to have, in this situation, your own videos and your own subtitle files, but it's a great way to be able to watch your own files and still be able to mine from it really, really easily without having to use like Voracious as a secondary program. I will say right now that the only files that work with it though are, I believe, MP4, basically just like Voracious. So if I import my subtitle, cool, and then I can basically hit parse, and the same function will work towards. So if I wanted to mine episodes or mine shows from this, it will still give me the same highlighting that it did before. So if I didn't know this word right here, which I don't, Hizeni, I can look it up and be like, oh yeah, this is not a common word. So maybe if this word would be really good to me, but I could mine it, but in this situation, probably not. You know, so I can go ahead and go through here and see what words I don't know, or just watch the show like normal. And then like this would absolutely be a word that I would mine because it's a 4-star word, right? But basically the functionality of all this is really, really cool. It's really, really easy to use. And basically it makes sentence mining so much easier. All right, guys, so from here on out, the rest of the video is going to be about setup. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go ahead and delete all of the Migaku stuff from my computer, at least the dictionary and the player, Migaku Player / Browser Extension. And then I will show you how easily you guys can quickly install this. All right, guys, so I've gone and removed all of the files from my computer, and now we're going to do a complete reinstall of this. It's going to be pretty easy. So first of all, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but basically Migaku right now is only available to Patreons. In the near future, sometime early next year, I believe, Migaku is going to try to release the browser extension out to the public for free, but right now it's only available for Patreons because it's still in beta. Though that being said, you can get the beta for this if you enter the $5 tier. And personally, I think for me, it's been totally worth it. Also, it's a great way to support people. So basically, you're going to go to the newest update. Currently, it's on 0.1.5. And you're going to go ahead and download 4 different things. You don't have to download all 4 of them. You really only need 2 of them, but 4 of them if you want like the full experience. One, you're going to want to actually download the Migaku Dictionary Plus add-on. And so you need to make sure you download the right version for your Anki. If you're on Anki 2.1.22 or 2.3, then you're going to want to go ahead and download this version right here. And if you're going to download, if you're on Anki 0.35, then you're going to go ahead and download this version. Basically, that's it. From there, you're going to want to also download the actual browser extension, which is going to be this one right here. It's only available for Chrome right now, so I know that they're planning on releasing it for Firefox in the future, but right now it's just a Chrome add-on. Cool. After that, if you want the audio available, as I showed in the beginning of the video, I can click on words and get native audio right back just from clicking on it. If you want that audio to be available for you in the extension, then you can go ahead and download it right here. And then there's the option to use FFmpeg, which would take the WAV files, which Migaku actually creates, and convert them into MP3. So if you would like MP3 files versus WAV files, you can download the FFmpeg. The reason why you might want to do this is because if you use Anki Web a lot, I believe Anki Web doesn't recognize WAV files, so you wouldn't be able to get your audio there. However, if you just mine on your, or just review on your phone or on your computer, then it really doesn't matter, unless you like the quality of MP3 better or something like that, I guess. So go ahead and download those 4 files, and then we're going to go ahead and install this. Basically, I've already put them in a folder for myself over here that I've labeled Migaku, because I keep my old versions of this and everything. First thing you're going to do is just go ahead and install the Dictionary Plus. So go ahead and double click on that. It's going to be already an Anki extension, so you don't really need to do anything special with installing it. It's going to pop up over here in Anki, and then you just hit yes. Usually you get an error afterwards. It's no big deal. And then if you would like from there, you can restart Anki. So just file, exit, right? While we're doing that, I want to show something over here. So this is the actual add-ons page for the dictionary. So now that this is installed, you should be able to go into users, and then you should be able to go into dictionaries, and you might have to create your own Japanese folder or download the Japanese dictionaries that you would want. I'll have a link to some extra dictionaries, but the ones that are provided by Migaku can easily be found in the Anki web page for the Migaku dictionary, and they have several of the JM Dicks, I believe. Yeah, the JM English stick is one of them. So basically here are all of my dictionaries. So the reason why I bring this up is because if you want to install the Netflix frequency list, I will have a link to that in the description below. Basically, just go ahead and install that. This is it right here, and you just need to have it named frequency.json. You can't name it something else because the browser, or rather the dictionary add-on only recognizes this name. As you can see, I got several frequencies in here, frequency lists in here. This is the only one it's actually looking at. So once you've placed this in here, what you need to do is you need to remove the rest of your dictionaries, right? To somewhere else, and then restart Anki. So we can do this at the same time. This is the reason why I'm showing you now. So now if I go into Anki, so say you already had the Migaku Dictionary add-on already installed, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys already do. As soon as Anki wants to open up, you'll see that when I go in there, it's saying, oh, removing all of your dictionaries. And then it's going to give me an error also saying that it doesn't have any dictionaries to work on. So we'll go ahead and let this go through. All dictionaries have been successfully removed. Awesome. So now you have 0 dictionaries installed. Good job. So now, once you've placed this new frequency list in here, if you would like to, you can go ahead and exit out of Anki. Oh, as soon as it wants to update, go ahead and exit out of Anki, and then you can go ahead and place these dictionaries right back into that same dictionary folder they were originally in. The reason why you have to do this is because the frequency list information is only applied the first time the dictionary is installed. It doesn't do it every single time you open up Anki. So now if I go in here and reopen Anki, select my user, go through, and now it's going to start saying importing dictionary. applying frequency list to dictionary, importing dictionary, applying frequency list to dictionary. It's going to go through all of these, so this might just take a minute. Cool. After that's all set, it's going to say your dictionaries for the Japanese language have been all installed, right? They're all in that Japanese folder. Just go over here and hit OK. So now your new frequency list has been applied, and also the Migaku dictionary add-on has been applied. Basically, every time you add a new dictionary, it'll apply the frequency list. So if this was your first time installing Migaku and you get that error that you don't have any dictionaries, and then you go put this in there, just exit out of Anki, go back in, and you can basically do the same thing. So cool. After that, now we're just going to go ahead and install the Migaku Browser Extension. So first of all, you probably downloaded the accent audio. All you need to do with that is go ahead and drop it into the Immerse with Migaku folder. Now, when you downloaded Immerse with Migaku, you might have had a folder that looked like this. Just unzip it, and then basically you only need this folder. So if you go in here and you see that it's got the Immerse with Migaku folder inside of it, you don't want the folder named 013 or 015 or 01 whatever you got, or if this is you're installing this later on, you don't want to use that folder. You want to use the one that just is called Immerse with Migaku. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go to Chrome. We're going to go to our extensions tab. The way you can get here quickly is just go click on this little puzzle piece here and then just hit manage extensions, right? It's going to bring you to the extension page, and you want to make sure you're in developer mode. So go ahead and turn this on so that it allows you to see load and unpacked. So I'm going to go ahead and click that link, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to that same location folder that I was at before, which is this Migaku one for me. And then I'm just going to select the folder. I'm not going to go inside the folder. I'm just going to select the Immerse with Migaku folder, hit select folder, and it's go ahead and automatically install that. From there, you can just go down to your little puzzle piece again. You can scroll down to where it says Immerse with Migaku, and then just hit this pin button, and that'll go ahead and put this in your little pin tray. I'm going to go ahead and move this over to the front because that's where I like it. And now the Migaku browser extension is installed. It's really that easy. And it's got the audio, right? So we've done the frequency list, we've done the audio, we've actually installed the extension, and we've actually installed the frequency list, right? Did I get everything? I think so. So from there, basically you can go in here and you can mess with your settings, right? So before I said there's this whole settings page. It's really great. So here you can mess around with your settings for what fonts you want to use, and you can go in here and change all of your different fonts for whatever you want to use for your subtitles. It's a really cool feature. You can go over here and you can change your recording settings. When they say recording settings, this is your padding on your subtitles. So when you hit that little Anki button and it starts recording the audio, right now mine will go 500 milliseconds before the subtitle and 500 milliseconds after the subtitle, or 0.5 seconds. Then you have your word data page. Basically, the way that this works is you're going to go ahead and hit import from Anki, and it's going to go ahead and ask you to bring up this. From here, you can just go to your %app data %. It's going to bring up your files. You can go to Anki 2, and then you can go ahead and go to your profile and user 1, and then just double click on this Anki 2 file, and it's going to bring up this whole entire sheet of like all of your card types. So what you'll do is you'll go in there and then you'll say select fields for all of them. There's the front option of the card, the back option of the card, or select field. I suggest going to select field and then just going through all of those and just selecting your expression field and then your focus field, or your expression field and your word field, or however you have them named. You don't want the ones with furigana in them. You don't want the English definitions. You don't want your audio fields. You really just want the ones that have just the straight Japanese in them, or the straight language or whatever you're working with. You can also import words from backups and download a backup. So this is a lot easier. I will say right now, if you're using 0.35 version of Anki, this doesn't work. You have to use the 0.22 version of Anki. Right now I'm using the 0.35 version of Anki on this computer. Otherwise I would show you guys. I have another computer that I use where I'm using 0.22, where I make all of my backups and I import all my words from, so it makes it a lot easier, but unfortunately I can't show you that today. So I'm just going to go ahead and import my words from a backup. And usually mine are just in my download folder. Yep, here's one that I made from November 26th. Basically, once you've clicked that, hands off for a second. Same thing if you're like importing your words on your own. They'll pop up and you'll know it's done when you see your numbers. So don't rush it. Don't hit it multiple times. Otherwise, you'll crash the system. Cool. And then with that, guys, you can go ahead and go right over to whatever you're doing before. If you want to start mining, you can. You should be all ready. From there, though, there is a little bit more you have to do inside of Anki just to set up your cards properly. So if we go over here to Anki and we go to the Migaku setting, which if you didn't have before, now you do, you can go to dictionary settings, right? And then you can set up how you want your dictionaries to look, and you can set up your card template. One, you also need to find your downloads folder. So wherever your browser downloads things to, you need to put this link in there. Basically, when you hit that little Anki button on the browser extension, it's going to download a picture and it's going to download the audio, and it needs to know where to look to where it's going to be downloading that. If you don't know, you can just go over to your computer, go to settings, and then go ahead and type in download, and it's going to say the location where you do your downloads. If you just take this and you copy it, and then you go back to the dictionary settings page and just paste that into here, it will do it properly for you, right? So if I go over here, Control V, enter, it's going to be great. Select this folder, and now it's set to the proper one. If you want to if you did the FFmpeg portion of this, where you, let's go back a little bit. Actually, now that I've said it, so you'll notice that I have an FFmpeg folder. In your version, when you first download Migaku, this FFmpeg folder won't exist, so you'll just need to create it. Literally just right-click, new, right, and then folder, and then you'll also need to add this ensure directory file. Basically, if you go into like your dictionaries folder, you can go ahead and copy this ensure directory file, literally click on it, Control C, and then go in back to your FFmpeg folder, and you can go ahead and Control V it in there. And then that FFmpeg file that you downloaded, literally just drop it in here. It's that easy. If you get confused, there's also a video that Migaku put out about how to do this. It's really simple. So if you've done that and you want MP3 files versus the WAV files, just go ahead and click this on, and then that will work. And then the last thing you need to do is go ahead and go to the delete extension media and click that on. Basically, when Migaku downloads all those pictures and audio, you don't want them all just piling up in your downloads folder. They're going to be a complete waste to you most likely. So instead, if you click this, Migaku will download them, use them for your card, and then immediately delete them from your computer. That way you save a lot more space. Cool. And then we need to create an export template. So I'll go ahead and delete my current one right here. Yup. Haphazard. All right. So go in here, create a template. And this is how your template will work for when you're exporting cards from the Migaku Browser Extension to the actual card data, right? So once you've gotten this set up once, and I know there's kind of a lot here, but once you've done it one time, it's done, right? You don't need to do it again. So make sure you choose the note type that you actually use on your cards, right? So I'm going to go down to the one that I always use, which is the standard Subset SRS one. And then you're going to select where you want your sentence field to go. For me, it's going to be my expression field, the word field. I go ahead and use that as my sequence marker. The image field, I'm going to go ahead and throw that in snapshot. The audio field is going to go to audio, so that's easy. And then the unspecified dictionary field, this is the field where I exported the dictionary definition over to. So for me, I'm just going to throw that in my notes. And then like if you wanted to add the exact dictionary that you're going to be using, you can go whatever dictionary and then just hit add, right? And then you can just hit save. And now that exists for you for all of your mining purposes later on. Very easy. Go ahead and hit apply, and then you're done. Now you're pretty much ready to mine. So if I go over to Netflix, go back to whatever show I want to watch, right? Let's go to the next episode. So you'll notice right away that my browser extension didn't pop up for me. So what do? I'm just going to go over here and click on your Migaku button. Going to hit Enable Migaku Toolbar. You're also going to want to hit Allow Recording. You can tell if you're recording because it's going to have this little square over here, right? Go ahead and reload the page. And now it's popped up. Cool. Go ahead and go in there and select your subtitle language that you want. And then all of your other options should pop up right for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it up the way I would normally set it up. Right? If I wanted a kanji, I can just do kanji. And then I can just hit parse and everything should be there, right? Great. And then from there, I could find, just to prove that this is all working, find a sentence with a word I don't know. Cool. Then from here, one thing's first, you need to make sure your dictionary tool is actually open. And you can either do that by just searching a word like this, right? Or you could go over here and then just hit Control W, and that would actually open up your dictionary add-on as well. So if I go here, search a word, once it's open one time, you don't need to do that every single time. You can just go over here and hit the Anki button every single time. But you just want to make sure you do that the first time, because otherwise if you do it and you hit the Anki button, it won't actually make the card for you. The dictionary needs to be open. So from here, I can just hit that button. Cool. and then this will pop up, right? And so I just want to make sure that everything's right. So I'm using my standard template. If you have multiple templates, I want to make sure it's going to the right deck for me, which is my sentence deck, and then everything here could be good. And then I can just go over here and add a definition if I wanted to. Cool, and there it is, and then just hit add, and then you're all done. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Sorry, I know it was a little bit of a longer video, but I felt like that we covered a lot of stuff in that short period of time. So hopefully you guys found this useful. We basically went over how to use the Migaku Browser Extension, whether you're going to be using it on Netflix, YouTube, or with your own files. And then we also went over how to set it up. You download those 4 files, you install them properly, you make your template for your cards, and basically from there on out, you can pretty much start mining. It's really not too hard. You can get this set up on your computer in probably, 15-20 minutes max, and then from there you'd be able to mine with anywhere you would normally watch your stuff, right? I literally do it on my couch with my mouse because my entertainment systems is a computer, and it has made everything so much better for me. Like I said, this has really made it so that I don't really even use Morphman anymore, because it's so easy just to mine my own cards while I'm watching a show. No more do you have to do these crazy procedures where you have to download the audio by recording it and having to get it just right snippets, and then taking a picture and then screwing around with Netflix to be able to get the picture right, and then having to import the sentence over. Now it's just a one-click thing, and you can get cards made in literally 2 to 3 clicks. It's so easy, and it's made the process so much better for me. And because of that, I find it really, really easy to make my 10 cards a day without even needing Morphman. Now, I still use Morphman every once in a while on days where I didn't maybe get 10 cards mining from one show or 2 shows, but this has just been a complete game changer for me as far as quality of life and easiness. So if you're into it, go ahead and check out the Migaku Browser Extension. I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't use it myself. And yeah, so I guess that's going to be it for today, guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments down below. Otherwise, if you like the video, and if you'd like to see more content like this, then go ahead and subscribe. Later.